So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. Tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video, podcast edition. I know we haven't done podcasts in a while. You guys will be getting a lot of podcasts over the next few days because I am traveling and it's just getting a little bit more busy, so bear with me. So tonight, we're getting into something so long awaited and something heavy, which is the Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj rap beef. Did anyone else know that this was going to happen? Because I did. I knew when Cardi dropped, it would be this. Maybe not like this, but at least something. I knew when Nicki posted that she's dropping her next album on March 27th, 2026, that it would be this. I knew this story would bring up old wounds and rehash a lot of stuff, and I am not surprised at all. Literally, who is with me? This is the version of the story that bleeds beyond music, if you ask me, beyond shade, and now tragically into family and children. If you're tired of watching this cycle, trust me, I am too, but I believe we need to unpack it, understand it, and maybe call for a more mature way forward, if that's even possible. Probably not, right? So I want to touch on a lot of segments so you can see how the beef evolved, what's happening now, why it is so draining, and where we could hope or demand that it ends. I want to be honest, I went through dozens of articles, tweets, screenshots, and I'm going to be raw, okay? Honestly, I am a Nicki Minaj music fan. I'm still listening to Cardi's album right now, but I'm not affiliated with any fan base because I'm grown, okay? And I have a fully developed brain to see that these women have faults and are not above reproach or critique. There is no sugarcoating. So we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and even in between so that nothing distracts from the real problem, which is how fame, pressure, ego, and fans often push people into destructive behavior, but also those people themselves. Both Cardi and Nicki have legacies that do deserve respect, but legacies don't give you the permission to cross lines on both ends. But I'll say more about that later. So y'all sit with me, pour yourself something to drink, get your smoke, get your snacks, whatever you do, and let's walk through this. I've broken this video down into 5 main talking points, so without further ado, let's get right into this video. Let's talk about this bag. This is the Anastasia tote in black patent leather from Laurice Noire, a black woman-owned luxury accessories brand that's giving style and functionality. She's big, she's bold, and yes, she fits my laptop, water bottle, book, tablet, all of it. She's the everyday bag that doesn't look like one. It's made with genuine patent leather, has an adjustable strap, deep interior pockets, and these silver stud accents, I love them. If you love gold, they've got a version for you too. The gag is, this bag is limited stock, so do not wait. And because I got y'all, use my code QUEEN20 for a discount at checkout. Laurice Noire accepts all major cards and buy now, pay later with Affirm, Afterpay, or Klarna. Plus, they're running a giveaway. Follow them on all platforms for a chance to win a free handbag. Head to lauricenoire.com to shop now and sign up for their email list so you don't miss the next launch or sale. Support a new black woman-owned luxury brand that's making quality pieces for women who do it all and look good doing it. Thank you to Laurice Noire for sponsoring today's video. So, starting with point number 1, the long, complicated history. We have to start here. To understand the severity of what's happening now, we must first trace how this tension built over the years. Rivalries don't just appear, okay? They kind of simmer and then boom, the oil splashes in your eye and now you're burned, okay? Nicki Minaj began her reign in the late 2000s and early 2010s. She was a force of nature, unpredictable, lyrical, audacious, versatile. Literally, middle school me loved Nicki. High school, I still love Nicki's music. I feel like she set a very crazy standard. She smashed the glass ceiling for women in rap, especially those who dared to mix hardcore rap energy with pop stardom and sex appeal. Her catalog runs deep. I mean, no one's touching that. From Pink Friday to Queen and beyond. During her peak, very few people, and I mean very few people, dared to challenge her directly. Then, all of a sudden, about 2017-ish, then Cardi B burst onto the scene with a fierceness that was also unapologetic. Bodak Yellow went number 1. She didn't come from some rapping legacy. She's not a rapper. She came from the Bronx, from the internet, and honestly, from the strip club, if we're being honest. She flipped her personality into a brand. She was blunt, she was raw, she was loud. That was what Cardi is. The world hadn't seen that many female rappers who owned every flaw while also dominating charts. It was pretty new, right? From the start, comparisons were very much inevitable. People asked, is she the next Nicki? Which is crazy. Can she dethrone Nicki? Which is crazy. But they were valid questions because she was so successful. The more successful Cardi got, the more comparisons lit up. And with comparisons come rivals, whether real or manufactured, right? Me personally, I don't think anyone can really outdo Nicki. Her reign was untouchable in so many ways. She built an era almost single-handedly, annihilating every rap joint in the building. But she also blended lyrical skill, character work, and mainstream crossover power in a way that honestly we hadn't seen before. And her predecessors were also great. Love me some Lil' Kim, but I feel like although people say that Nicki Minaj is kind of Lil' Kim 2.0, I still think there is a distinction, and we have to be honest about that. Nicki was definitely in her own lane for a very long time. But I'll also say this, when Cardi came in, she definitely shook the table. Her rise was actually kind of disruptive because at the time, there really wasn't an active roster of thriving female rappers competing on the same commercial level, like at all. Whether people consider her an elite lyricist or question how much she writes, the truth is that Cardi's success with her personality, the hits, the energy, it definitely created a cultural shift. Now, say what you want to say about that. I think Cardi brought in more people who don't rap, or more strippers who just wanted to rap, or more girls who just kind of went viral to become rappers. And I think there's good and bad in that. She proved that a different kind of woman could dominate rap and win over the mainstream. And let's be honest, a lot of people genuinely liked Cardi when she first broke through. She was fresh, she was funny, she was relatable, and she was also on TV, and she connected with audiences in a way that the industry hadn't really seen or felt in a long time. She definitely used social media to her advantage. So, stay with me, y'all. In 2018, that's when things crossed a threshold. At Milan Fashion Week, Cardi approached Nicki in person. Reports say that shoes were thrown, bodyguards intervened, voices were raised. The visuals of that moment show Cardi's bruised forehead, and the tension in the air made it clear that this wasn't just over social media anymore, okay? It was personal, and it was definitely very public. After that, there was no turning back, okay? They've never, ever been cool. Over the years, the shade only got sharper, and the references became more direct and even indirect. Every time one of them dropped a song, an album, or even hinted at new music, the other's name somehow found its way back into the conversation, and I blame the fans for that. But hey, sometimes it was praise, but more often it was like an attack just waiting for the fans and the media to carry out. So collaborations like Motorsport, which is the only song that they've done together, which they weren't even in the music video at the same time if you watch the music video, but I don't think they were just songs. I think they were kind of dissected, like let's say like a crime scene for like hidden messages, for clues, like those types of things. So y'all remember the line that Nicki had, which was originally, "If Cardi the QB, then I'm Vince Lombardi. Girl, you're my son, go sit on the potty," right? I think that line was cool. That was a bar, as the reference to the NFL legend Vince Lombardi, who was a prominent coach in the NFL, a head coach. But on Cardi's end, I can see how it came off as shade, as it was followed by, "Girl, you're my son, go sit on the potty," if Nicki is the coach, right? And that is what really made all of this even go even more left. That one line being changed and what it meant for the two biggest names in female rap during that time, right? So then their interviews became like layered with subliminals. At times, even their tweets had a lot of like, if you ask me, quiet venom, okay? Even when it looked like casual on the surface. So by the time Am I the Drama arrived in 2025, which is Cardi B's latest album, this wasn't like two fresh artists figuring out their lane. No. Now we're talking about two titans with years of history, bruises, fights, unresolved tension, meeting once again on a very public battlefield, because this is public and this has happened so many times. As y'all know, this year I watched all 4 seasons of Attack on Titan, so I'm gonna make some references for those who love anime. Let's say Nicki is the founding titan, okay? The originator, the one who shaped everything that came after, at least for the late 2000s and the 2010s era, right? And then Cardi became the attack titan, as her story started later on, but she's bold, she's loud, and came into an industry and disrupted everything from the chart records, awards, media presence, and so forth. That's why this rivalry hits so different, because it's basically old school versus new school, or legacy versus disruption. Two completely different blueprints for success colliding in public for everyone to watch time and time again. So that's how we got here. Now, moving on to point number 2, the spark that reignited everything. Because like I said, these ladies go back and forth like twice a year. So let's fast forward to September 2025. Cardi B released her follow-up album, Am I the Drama, a long-awaited second studio project after years years of delays and anticipation and pressure. I was like, come on, girl, where we at? The album immediately debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, which I thought it would, selling about 200,000 album equivalent units in its first week, which is what everybody wants to do. Everybody wants to sell very high numbers. They want to go platinum. And if we're being real, a lot of people either want to beat Nicki, or maybe they don't even care about what Nicki's numbers are. They just want to put out something so their label can get off their back and so that they can make some money. Did anybody ever consider that some people really don't care about numbers? Like, you do to an extent. I'm here on YouTube. I do care about views and viewership and stuff like that to an extent, but not because I want to compare myself to another person. Everybody could eat. So that commercial performance should have been a moment to celebrate Cardi B, her vindication, her moment, and the long-awaited album. And I think she did at first, maybe like the first couple of days. But instead, it quickly became a battlefield. Like I said, Nicki Minaj wasted no time. She posted tweets, some later deleted, mocking the $4.99 promotional price for the album, implying Cardi had to discount her work to boost numbers. She made references to lyric lines from Cardi's own song, Magnet, twisting them into insults, then called her Barney Dangerous and Barney B. She commented and said, falling off the charts with a big belly, referencing Cardi's pregnancy. One tweet even read, never provoke a writer while they're writing, which was kind of vague, but definitely a perceived shot at Cardi's creative process, because it's been said that she doesn't write. And I don't think she really does. I'm gonna be real, Cardi has admitted to having writers and she has written before, but she's not and never will be Nicki Minaj writing talent. Sorry, not sorry. But Cardi didn't respond passively. She basically fired back pretty hard. She called Nicki out for comparing her to younger artists instead of her contemporaries like Rihanna, Drake, Taylor Swift, right? She said Nicki was being hypocritical by acting shocked about discount pricing when Nicki has done similar strategies. She also brought up Nicki's brother, Jelani Mirage, who was convicted of sexual assault of a minor and accused him of touching 12-year-olds, which honestly, this is a proven fact. So yeah, it's getting nasty. And that move escalated things immediately because that is not a small claim legally or morally. Cardi pointed out that these repeated attacks on her pregnancy were taking advantage of her personal vulnerability. She said, Lord, protect my babies in a tweet, right? And the beef went on and is still ongoing, if you ask me. Like, I'm probably gonna have to do a part 2. I'm recording this on October 1st, and I know a lot of stuff has come out today, so excuse me if I missed it. We'll be back probably. So what could have just been written off as maybe market competition at first basically turned into an attack of personal jabs about each other's identities as women, as mothers, and their legacies. Now, moving on to point number 3, the ugly, and I mean hideous, escalation, family and children being dragged in. Now, this is where, again, it gets ugly, where many of us had to pause and just breathe, okay? Let's do a breathing exercise real quick. You ready? Breathe in and out. That was very refreshing. Let's do one more. Breathe in and out. Okay, because it gets kind of crazy and lines were definitely crossed. Nicki Minaj brought Cardi's daughter Culture into the war. I can't respect that. She posted comments calling Culture ugly, labeling her a roach and a monkey, and even made derogatory comparisons to other children. These are not harmless taunts, okay? I'm sorry. She is dead wrong. These are deeply dehumanizing insults directed at a child, and it's crossing the line. Poking fun at one another is one thing. Their alleged drug habits, all of those things are just one thing. But the kids are always off limits. And I know Cardi said something about how it's Nicki's son's birthday and Nicki was using the day to go back and forth about Cardi. And that attack on her parenting, or just pointing out the fact that Nicki is even bothered by this, is why Nicki took it there. So I'll say this. Maybe Nicki thought that nothing was off limits when her parenting was called into question. So she said, oh, okay, bet. All is fair in love and war and hip hop. So Nicki also attacked Cardi's sister, Hennessy Carolina. She dragged Jay-Z into it, calling for him to take off that lace front, and used the beef to critique Cardi's alliances with labels like Roc Nation. And in retaliation, Cardi struck back with her own severe blows, okay? She accused Nicki of being jealous of other people's kids' happiness. She went on record alleging that Nicki's son, who goes by Papa Bear, we don't know his name, is nonverbal because his mother used drugs, which is wild as hell to say again. dead wrong. I cannot respect that. And of course, she claimed Nicki ignored him on his birthday due to her obsession with the beef. Cardi also accused Nicki of having fertility issues, of being delusional, and referenced public rumors about Nicki's history, digging into very intimate, vulnerable territory about Nicki's father, which I didn't even know this, if it's even true. Even at one point, Cardi B said, "B, you wish you could call my daughter ugly. Your hate is so deep and dark because your son's nonverbal, because you effed him up with them drugs." Oh, Lord. And Nicki retaliated further by posting memes like AI generated images showing Cardi as Barney the dinosaur, mocking her pregnancy, saying, "Barney B, you eating out the garbage cans of the Bronx, so stupid." She also accused Cardi of trying to sabotage her tour, and she alleged that there were calls from labels begging for a joint tour with Nicki, and she also threatened to drop recorded calls as receipts. I would actually love to listen to them. What makes this all particularly painful? Neither Culture or Papa Bear asked for this, okay? Their mothers are literally foolish for this, and their kids are collateral in a war between adults. We know how childhood trauma can stick, how much damage might be done behind the scenes, and it's only something that time will reveal. But it is still painful to watch. For fans and the media, the backlash has been very, very strong, okay? People say don't bring the children into this, and I agree, because at the end of the day, they had no part in the music fight, but now bear the scars of the public. And I will add, Cardi has had a history of saying very, very hurtful things about other people's kids. She's spoken on dead children. She's called people roaches and monkeys. So I see why Nicki is throwing it back at her, don't get me wrong, but two wrongs don't make a right. And I think in this scenario, things were taken a lot further than I remember. But Cardi, this is what happens when back in the day, you were running your mouth, you were talking crazy, and people are going to hold you accountable for that forever, okay? Like, you have beef with people forever, people are going to hold you accountable forever, and you do deserve to be held accountable. You should have never said those things. I don't know if she's ever publicly apologized, but an apology sometimes really doesn't do anything but put a band-aid over BS. Just saying. Now, moving on to point number 4, why this feud feels so tiring for the fans and for the culture, right? So by now, many of us have, reached very much beef fatigue. I'll call it that, beef fatigue. And that is because this is more cyclical than an album drop, if you ask me. It grows more toxic every single time they go back and forth. This is their worst battle. Out of the whole war, this is their worst. But they do this like 2 times a year, whether it's subliminal or direct. So I'm gonna go through some reasons why this is very tiring for fans and the culture. Number 1, it moves from art to personal destruction. This is supposed to be competition in music, but it has transformed into attacks on people's families and character and morality. You can't keep watching people dig for each other's wounds and call it entertainment, because it's not, okay? Number 2, hypocrisy and double standards. Each side of this has accused others of tactics that they themselves sometimes employ. For example, Nicki bashes Cardi for discount pricing of the Am I the Drama album, but she's used similar pricing on bundle tactics in her own release cycles. So the back and forth of "you did it too" is just hypocritical and it's childish. Be for real. Number 3 is the oversaturation on social media. Every screenshot, every video, every deleted tweet is reposted and magnified across platforms. I mean, I was getting on Instagram scrolling and seeing it on this blog, this blog, this blog, this blog, on Facebook, on Twitter. It was everywhere. Fandoms from the Barbz and Bardi gang, they just amplify and dissect everything. And I guess if you're riding another woman's poom poom, that's what you do. But it's like the cycle never ends. There's no cool down. Like, it feels like war, if we're being real, where the rounds are just constant and back to back. Number 4, and I'm gonna get a little bit deep, it just diminishes the artistry of hip hop. When the focus goes from talent, music, influence, sound, and innovation to petty insults, people kind of just lose respect for the craft. Like, I know there's people looking at this and saying, "Oh, this is why I don't listen to hip hop," or "I don't really like hip hop like that." People trying to come up in this space start to think the blueprint to be big is that you have to be damaging. And that's simply not the case. Personally, I have said a lot of things, plenty of different things about different artists in hip hop while also putting out my own music. And I still plan to drop more. If the day comes where it blows up, I still know what I've said, because I've never lied. I've never fabricated stories, and I've never spoken with malicious intent. My critiques come from a place of honesty and cultural observation, not from trying to tear down anyone. But I do understand, if you come for me and I didn't send for you, I'm gonna come back for you. But the intent matters, and that's the difference. You can speak truth, analyze the industry, and have opinions without resorting to cruelty or trying to destroy someone's humanity. Hip hop, to me, deserves that level of integrity, and I wish more of them would see this. And I feel like the fans and the media and the artists deserve to see that success doesn't have to mean hurting others just so you can stay relevant, because that's starting to look like the blueprint. Number 5, all of this pits women against women. In a genre that is historically dominated by men, women have already faced disproportionate pressure and impossible expectations. So when the public narrative says that female artists must fight each other in order to matter, that's just toxic. And we end up with a very narrow, destructive standard. Oh, to stand out, you have to break down another woman. That's not cool, but I do get it. You're not gonna like everyone, and not everyone has to be your sister or your friend. That's just life. But this is different. This isn't even healthy competition or just, oh, we have our personal differences. This is an industry and an audience that almost kind of rewards women for publicly tearing each other apart. I mean, I'm sure all of their album sales, their song sales, their streams are going up because of this beef. Even JT was going back and forth with Cardi and Saucy Santana and Cardi's sister, and how much you want to bet Carisha starts saying stuff to her and it becomes another thing. And now all of their stuff starts going up, but it puts women against each other. The fans and media turn every achievement into a battle and every chart position into proof that someone else has to fall. And I just feel like when you frame it like that, it definitely keeps women from feeling like there's room to just create. Some people do not care to be the one and only. I know I don't. I believe in sisterhood and sharing the pie and being happy for the next girl. I think women should be able to build their own lanes without being measured against the next. If you don't like somebody, cool, stand in your own lane. But in the long run, all of this hurts music. It hurts the culture, and it definitely robs us of the possibility of seeing multiple women collaborate and win at the same time, something hip hop desperately needs more of. Number 6, emotional drain for the fans. Okay, if you're a fan of either, you feel pulled. It's very exhausting to root for someone when they're calling children ugly or dragging up past trauma and coming for their family or their drug use or whatever, their motherhood. Some fans are posting, oh, I love her music, but I hate watching her do this, for both of them. And the last thing is just cultural damage. Part of hip hop's appeal is dialogue and communication and competition, but there is a line, okay? When we see female icons go at it like this, we lose a chance at solidarity and at mentorship and at legacy building. I get that hip hop is seen as a rougher and tougher genre, but come on. On both ends, this seems like a bullet train for gossip and disrespecting motherhood, and overall just distracts from issues that actually matter. So this beef does affect how female rappers are viewed, how young artists think they must act, and how the fans engage. Now moving on to my 5th and final point, a call. And I mean a call. I'm dialing you up. I'm blowing your phone. You block me, I'm calling no caller ID, but a call for growth and mutual respect. Now, after all the receipts and the raw talk, and I'm sure there'll be more, I just want us to land on hope, right? And boundaries and a different vision for conflict. Because for me, I have always told y'all I'm a fan of female rap music, but I hate seeing stuff like this. First, we need to respect legacies. Nicki Minaj redefined what it meant to be a female rap star. Her cycle, her alter egos, her ability to cross over, her influence on younger artists. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is touching that. Cardi B broke barriers too. Like I said, authenticity, breaking chart records, using her platform with blunt transparency. They don't have to be mirrored, but they don't have to be in constant competition either. Both ladies, like them or not, Barbz or Bardi gang, they both have done things in female rap music. Secondly, conflict should not be dehumanizing. Like, if there's a rivalry or disagreement, let it be about ideas and art and all that stuff, not family or children. Get in the booth, okay? Not in a child's face. Challenge each other to write a rap, not write the story to someone else's trauma. Third, forgiveness and peace are very powerful moves. And I learned this through therapy. That's why now when y'all listen to me, you're like, Chioma, you didn't talk like this 5 years ago when you were going in. Yes, I've healed a lot. And I suggest everyone to do so too. I'll be real. These ladies are probably never going to squash the beef, especially after this. But they had a chance to do so. That's the thing. They had the chance to do so years ago, before it got this bad. In many beefs, the most radical thing people will say is that I'm done with this, or to publicly refuse to engage further, which I see that Cardi B has recently done. But even when she did that, she still had a little bit more to say. So maybe I'll do a follow-up. The 4th thing, community and accountability. The fans, the media, I'm talking the Barbz and Bardi gang. Like, y'all are crazy. You guys are gonna unsubscribe, but it is what it is. But the fans, media, and also fellow artists, I think we all do have roles. We can honestly say, you know what, we're not gonna reward someone for their cruelty, which I see a lot of people love Nicki and are fans of her, but just won't defend this regardless of that. Even for Cardi, some people are just turned off, or they were already turned off with the things that she has said in the past. Like I said, Cardi has said some very, very messed up things about other people's children. So it's kind of karma, but at the same time, they didn't even have to take it there. So for the fans, we can call out when lines just go too far. We can demand for better, because I'm not gonna give anybody, I don't care how much I like you or your music, I'm not gonna give nobody a pass for this. As the media, there is an obligation conversation to not always spread what people are saying because maybe it's just too far. 5, coexistence, not competition. It is very possible for more than one woman to thrive at the top, okay? And I wish people would see this, especially the fan bases. The narrative of only one queen is a lie, okay? Hip hop should elevate multiple voices because there were people that came before all these people. There's enough space for Nicki, Cardi, Megan, Doja, Lotto, Ice Spice, and more. When we allow them to coexist, the culture actually wins. Did y'all know that? And finally, healing matters. Healing really matters. It seems like they both need healing and therapy. Even Cardi mentioned this in her bow out post to Nicki, and I do agree with that. Ego wounds and the public pressure and all of these family traumas, these are things that don't just go away overnight. So please, a lot of them really need to heal a lot of things. For either woman, there's a lot of emotional weight behind all of these attacks. I can tell that just by how hard they were going, how much back and forth it was. I hope they both find paths to heal, to grow, and to reclaim control of their narrative without needing to attack someone else just to feel justified. So to everyone watching, you can keep expecting more from these artists that you love, but also hold firm to all of the lines regardless of what fan base you cheer for. Certain things just don't need to go that far. Children, trauma, identity, these are not fair game for entertainment, and I pray that they do better. So yeah, just my closing thoughts. These are my opinions on the Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj beef. It's messy, it's painful, and for many of us, it just doesn't feel worth it to watch anymore. Like, I was honestly very disturbed. I couldn't believe it. And nothing really shocks me when it comes to media and entertainment. I'm over it. I'm kind of over everybody. I'm just here for the music. Y'all do what y'all want. I've grown up to only be here for the music. If y'all are not in the booth, I'm putting the other stuff on mute. Ooh, that's the bar. If y'all are not in the booth, I'm putting the other stuff on mute. But for real, I'm not here to take sides. I'm here to call for better and to remind us that art and legacy, something that I have a degree in that I care so much about with creativity and writing and all of these things, these are bigger than these types of insult. So now I throw it to y'all. Are y'all still watching this beef play out? Do y'all believe they're ever gonna let it go? What do you think? What do you know? Let me know down below. Let's have a conversation though, not a rumor war and not fan versus fan. Let's talk. Also, last but not least, don't forget to follow me on all of my social media networks, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.
Chioma. Yeah, I love to hear my name called. Black beauty cutie coming back just like an 8-ball. Philly plays, then I go to Jersey, I'm the cake boss. Barking with my dogs, running through y'all like I'm Saquon. Oh, you again? OMG, I'm getting pissed off. I've been past you, I left you, coming fast just like I sit soft. Nigerian girl, I'm somewhere hot, might go and get my wrist frost. I hate a hoe who like to tell she's staying at the Ritz-Carlton. Yes, I'm a 10, I really am a 10. I'm throwing bows, I'm swinging R's, I hit that Carlton. Not going 50 cent with many men. I'm throwing shots from the key, they bouncing in the rim. Hey, you taking shots, you sour ass is salt around the rim. Hey, I make it happen and impossible, now call me Kim. Hey, real life movie, I'm not playing like a sim. Hey, chubby cheeks, I'm golden brown, I'm at your chin. Skirt, Danica Patrick, green looking sharp just like a cactus. Moving forward, not going backwards. Chamba party, I'll send the address. Bust on, but they dark like they some Ray-Bans. I can write, I can rap, I can sing. What more you gotta say, man? Oops, I made your block look like a wasteland. Heavy shit, the straw that broke the camel's back. They might say I'm a haystack. If you ain't rocking with me, boy, just say that. Runway on my body, this is real, baby. This is not a face tan. I heard them girlies crashing out, that's why I call them bandicoots. I'm a brown skin thing, I'm African, and that's right down to the nappy roots. I foresee hair and foresee big numbers at the polling booth. All white on, I'm standing out, I'm looking like a snaggle tooth. Haters talking, it's so easy. I just block them, I'm in the gym, squatting heavy, yeah, working on my glutes. 30 minutes, go write a song and go snap.